Mental health. By analogy with the health of the body, one can speak metaphorically of a state of health of the mind, or mental health. Merriam-Webster defines mental health as a state of emotional and psychological well-being in which an individual is able to use his or her cognitive and emotional capabilities, function in society, and meet the ordinary demands of everyday life. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, there is no one official definition of mental health. Cultural differences, subjective assessments, and competing professional theories all affect how mental health is defined. In general, most experts agree that mental health and mental disorder are not opposites. In other words, the absence of a recognized mental disorder is not necessarily an indicator of mental health. One way to think about mental health is by looking at how effectively and successfully a person functions. Feeling capable and competent, being able to handle normal levels of stress, maintaining satisfying relationships, and leading an independent life, and being able to bounce back or recover from difficult situations, are all signs of mental health. Psychotherapy is an interpersonal, relational intervention used by trained psychotherapists to aid clients in problems of living. This usually includes increasing individual sense of well-being and reducing subjective discomforting experience. Psychotherapists employ a range of techniques based on experiential relationship building, dialogue, communication, and behavior change and that are designed to improve the mental health of a client or patient, or to improve group relationships, such as in a family. Most forms of psychotherapy use only spoken conversation, though some also use various other forms of communication such as the written word, art, drama, narrative story, or therapeutic touch. Psychotherapy occurs within a structured encounter between a trained therapist and clients. Purposeful, theoretically based psychotherapy began in the 19th century with psychoanalysis. Since then, scores of other approaches have been developed and continue to be created.
Non-human. Animal cognition. Animal cognition, or cognitive ethology, is a modern approach to the research and study of the mental capacities of animals. It has developed out of comparative psychology and has also been strongly influenced by the approach of ethology, behavioral ecology, and evolutionary psychology. Much of what was formerly known as animal intelligence is now thought of under this heading. Animal language acquisition, attempting to discern or understand the degree to which animal cognition can be revealed by linguistics-related study, has been controversial among cognitive linguists. There has been some examples of debate in regards to the methods and progress of animal cognition research. Despite this, there is still research being done in the field and progress is being made to better understand the cognitive processes of animal life.
Artificial intelligence. In 1950, Alan M. Turing published Computing Machinery and Intelligence in Mind, in which he proposed that machines could be tested for intelligence using questions and answers. This process is now named the Turing test. The term artificial intelligence, AI, was first used by John McCarthy, who considered it to mean the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. It can also refer to intelligence as exhibited by an artificial, man-made, non-natural, manufactured entity. AI is studied in overlapping fields of computer science, psychology, neuroscience, and engineering, dealing with intelligent behavior, learning and adaptation, and usually developed using customized machines or computers. Research in AI is concerned with producing machines to automate tasks requiring intelligent behavior. Examples include control, planning and scheduling, the ability to answer diagnostic and consumer questions, handwriting, natural language, speech and facial recognition. As such, the study of AI has also become an engineering discipline, focused on providing solutions to real-life problems, knowledge mining, software applications, strategy games like computer chess and other video games. One of the biggest limitations of AI is in the domain of actual machine comprehension. Consequentially, natural language understanding and connectionism, where behavior of neural networks is investigated, are areas of active research and development. The debate about the nature of the mind is relevant to the development of artificial intelligence. If the mind is indeed a thing separate from or higher than the functioning of the brain, then hypothetically it would be much more difficult to recreate within a machine, if it were possible at all. If, on the other hand, the mind is no more than the aggregated functions of the brain, then it will be possible to create a machine with a recognizable mind, though possibly only with computers much different from today's, by simple virtue of the fact that such a machine already exists in the form of the human brain.
Religion. Many religions associate spiritual qualities to the human mind. These are often tightly connected to their mythology and ideas of afterlife. The Indian philosopher sage Sri Aurobindo attempted to unite the Eastern and Western psychological traditions with his integral psychology, as have many philosophers and new religious movements. Judaism teaches that Mot Shalit al-Halav, the mind rules the heart. Humans can approach the divine intellectually, through learning and behaving according to the divine laws enclosed in the Torah, and use that deep logical understanding to elicit and guide emotional arousal during prayer. Christianity has tended to see the mind, Greek nous, as distinct from the soul, Greek sush, and sometimes further distinguished the spirit, Greek pneuma. Western esoteric traditions sometimes refer to a mental body that exists on a plane other than the physical. Hinduism's various philosophical schools have debated whether the human soul, Sanskrit Atman, is distinct from or identical to Brahman, the divine reality. Taoism sees the human being as contiguous with natural forces, and the mind as not separate from the body. Confucianism sees the mind, like the body, as inherently perfectible.
Buddhism. Buddhist teachings explain the moment-to-moment manifestation of the mind stream. The components that make up the mind are known as the five aggregates, i.e., material form, feelings, perception, volition, and sensory consciousness, which arise and pass away continuously. The arising and passing of these aggregates in the present moment is described as being influenced by five causal laws: biological laws, psychological laws, physical laws, volitional laws, and universal laws. The Buddhist practice of mindfulness involves attending to this constantly changing mind stream. According to Buddhist philosopher Dharmakirti, the mind has two fundamental qualities, clarity and cognizance. If something is not those two qualities, it cannot validly be called mind. Clarity refers to the fact that mind has no color, shape, size, location, weight, or any other physical characteristic, and cognizes that it functions to know or perceive objects. Knowing refers to the fact that mind is aware of the contents of experience, and that, in order to exist, mind must be cognizing an object. You cannot have a mind, whose function is to cognize an object, existing without cognizing an object. Mind, in Buddhism, is also described as being space-like and illusion-like. Mind is space-like in the sense that it is not physically obstructive. It has no qualities which would prevent it from existing. In Mahayana Buddhism, mind is illusion-like in the sense that it is empty of inherent existence. This does not mean it does not exist, it means that it exists in a manner that is counter to our ordinary way of misperceiving how phenomena exist, according to Buddhism. When the mind is itself cognized properly, without misperceiving its mode of existence, it appears to exist like an illusion. There is a big difference, however, between being space and illusion and being space-like and illusion-like. Mind is not composed of space, it just shares some descriptive similarities to space. Mind is not an illusion, it just shares some descriptive qualities with illusions. Buddhism posits that there is no inherent, unchanging identity, inherent I, inherent me, or phenomena, ultimate self, inherent self, Atman, soul, self-essence, Jiva, Ishvara, humanist essence, etc., which is the experiencer of our experiences and the agent of our actions. In other words, human beings consist of merely a body and a mind, and nothing extra. Within the body there is no part or set of parts which is, by itself or themselves, the person. Similarly, within the mind there is no part or set of parts which are themselves the person. A human being merely consists of five aggregates, or skandhas, and nothing else. In the same way, mind is what can be validly conceptually labeled onto our mere experience of clarity and knowing. There is something separate and apart from clarity and knowing which is awareness, in Buddhism. Mind is that part of experience of the sixth sense door, which can be validly referred to as mind by the concept term mind. There is also not objects out there, mind in here, and experience somewhere in between. There is a third thing called awareness, which exists being aware of the contents of mind and what mind cognizes. There are 5 senses, arising of mere experience: shapes, colors, the components of smell, components of taste, components of sound, components of touch, and mind as the 6th institution. This means, expressly, that there can be a third thing called awareness and a third thing called experiencer who is aware of the experience. This awareness is deeply related to no self because it does not judge the experience with craving or aversion. Clearly, the experience arises and is known by mind, but there is a third thing called sathi, which is the real experiencer of the experience that sits apart from the experience, and which can be aware of the experience in 4 levels. Ma Satha Pathana Sutta. 1. Body. 2. Sensations, changes of the body-mind. 3. Mind. 4. Contents of the mind, changes of the body-mind. To be aware of these 4 levels, one needs to cultivate equanimity toward craving and aversion. This is called vipassana, which is different from the way of reacting with craving and aversion. This is the state of being aware and equanimous to the complete experience of here and now. This is the way of Buddhism, with regards to mind and the ultimate nature of minds and persons.
Mortality. Due to the mind-body problem, a lot of interest and debate surrounds the question of what happens to one's conscious mind as one's body dies. During brain death, all brain function permanently ceases. According to some neuroscientific views which see these processes as the physical basis of mental phenomena, the mind fails to survive brain death and ceases to exist. This permanent loss of consciousness after death is sometimes called eternal oblivion. The belief that some spiritual or incorporeal component, soul, exists and that it is preserved after death is described by the term afterlife.
Parapsychology. Parapsychology is the study of certain types of paranormal phenomena, or of phenomena which appear to be paranormal or not have any scientific basis, such as precognition, telekinesis, and telepathy. The term is based on the Greek para, beside, beyond, psyche, soul, mind, and logos, account, explanation, and was coined by psychologist Max Dessoir in or before 1889. J.B. Rhine tried to popularize parapsychology using fraudulent techniques as a replacement for the earlier term, psychical research, during a shift in methodologies which brought experimental methods to the study of psychic phenomena. Parapsychology is not accepted among the scientific community as science, as psychic abilities have not been demonstrated to exist. The status of parapsychology as a science has also been disputed, with many scientists regarding the discipline as pseudoscience.